property we found in 1996. It was an abandoned winery for 86 years. This location that we're actually standing in, this vineyard, is the historic wine, the vineyard of Cedar Knoll Vineyards, established in 1886 and shut down in Prohibition and abandoned for 86 years.
So when you got here, it was nothing but just empty fields?
There were more old mattresses and cars and trash in the vineyard than there was actual vines.
Yeah.
Few vines left over.
You've done a nice job.
But we had to clean the place up quite a lot. And we were able to get all the permissions partly because of the historic precedent, and then also we really did our due diligence to make sure that this was planted in the most environmentally sensitive way.
So what does that mean? What does that mean to plant in an environmentally sensitive way?
Just the perfect example is the fact that we plant our rows going down the hill instead of terracing across. Because when they terrace down the slopes, they'll start eroding. The shoulders will erode, and you lose a lot of your mountain that way. So when you go down this way, you're maintaining the contour of the mountain. The other main thing that we do, you can see every other row is tilled every other year. So we don't till the entire vineyard every year. We only till every other year. This is almost all Cabernet. And actually, we have a little bit of Merlot here in front of us and a little bit of Cab Franc behind us.
I am curious. I've noticed rose bushes at the end of every single row.
The real reason why people grow roses in the end of vineyards is a throwback to French tradition. In France, they have much more fog and a lot more rain, and so the risk of mildew is higher. So in Bordeaux, they would plant rose bushes at the end of your row so that if you ever showed stress or sign of mildew in your rose bush, you knew to go ahead and address your vineyard, because a rose bush is more sensitive than a vine.
This is a very unassuming property that I'm looking at right over here. I know there's a lot more to it. Tell me about it.
Well, the entire property is really mostly mountain. We have 600 acres here, but really it's all mountainside. So my father decided to build the entire winery into the back of the mountain.
So it's just to look at this one little entrance. I know there's 100,000 square feet inside a mountain, which is your winery.
There's 4 caves stacked on top of themselves that are connected from the inside. And since we have all this wonderful height that we can work with, we've also incorporated a very gravity flow system of winemaking.
We are inside the mountain now.
We are. We are in what we call the fermentation dome. So we bring in the grapes from the top level. The idea is that we can bring the whole berries, while they're still intact and in good shape, straight into the tank. All these tanks that you see up above us rotate. Because we are...
Everything up there is on a track?
That's one big lazy Susan. Well, not so lazy, wow. It's motorized.
That's incredible.
Line up the tank that we want to drop those grapes in, and then the next day or 2 days later, whenever the next harvest day is, we'll rotate again to bring in the next tank.
Incredibly well.
Primary, and it's easy. It's really easy. We do very little shoveling, very little hustling. It's just good orientation. We're only 4 people in the cellar. It's because we've set it up so well. We want all of our focus to be about the wine, caring for the wine. So we were having a good time one year. We were bottling by hand on the first vintage. We made a bit of a mess. So we had several different drip patterns and decided to repeat it. We don't bottle by hand anymore. We do have a bottling line now. But we do have a different stain pattern for every bottle in the box.
To really appreciate this wine, what should I be looking for to appreciate?
A beginning, a middle, and an end that give you one experience. They need to have aromas that entice you to actually want to take that next sip. And it needs to also evolve in the glass. That first sip needs to be reflected in the last, but the last one needs to change a little. You want to watch an evolution in a glass. That's a great bottle of wine.